Greetings, beings. Reverend Jacob Martinez here, Crystal Haiku Guy and father of Trimes from www.artoflove.me. I'm back with your October readings. Thank God we survived Mercury retrograde. Wasn't that a hell of an eclipse too? Oh my goodness. Look, this is an M for Mature Audiences only channel. If you are not somebody that's comfortable with raw messages or being raw in your own life, probably not your guy too. Just put it out there. I will most definitely misgender probably 50% or more of you. My apologies. It's difficult to do for a large audience, and energies can flip-flop. I'm not going to be the guy to tell you how to interpret your own gender, so please feel free to assign whichever gender makes most sense, knowing that stories can flip-flop, and so can energies. Check your sun, your moon, your rising, and any other planetary influences of importance to you. You don't have to watch the beginnings of any of my videos. They tend to go a little bit long. I do 4 videos breaking them down by tribal elements. There are going to be 3 chapters for each element. If you just go under the video, into the description box, click show more, and you'll see your chapters delineated for you. Just click ahead if you like. Alright, now that I said that, for those of you that do like hearing this stuff, I have to tell you, I might have to expand my space soon. I'm looking at maybe doing a move here when I can. I'm just like got some things on the radar, a lot of changes going on, and when I was just cleaning the space here, I hadn't even touched my cards yet, okay, and I just started getting like so many messages, tons and tons and tons and tons of messages, and I don't want to say it stressed me out, but what has been kind of triggering me is that I feel like if I don't know what to do with all of this, that it's kind of like I'm not doing my job, right? So this is my service to others. I take it pretty seriously, and I clean myself a certain way to be able to do this work. And so I want to thank you for allowing me to be your witness and for connecting with me in a way that allows me to be so flooded with these messages before I even touch my decks. And I'm just going to let you know that I'm in the process of figuring out how I can maybe adjust my format and do it in a way where maybe I can figure out how to articulate those messages in a way that makes more sense for this audience, since I'm getting so many of them, and I want to be a good steward of the gifts that I've been given. So thank you for allowing me to be your witness. And on that thread too, I just have to thank you for being a kind mirror to me. When I started this channel just like a handful of months ago, it was like May when I first started, this was just my service to others. I didn't even start offering personal readings until like last month, because I've been really busy with my other job, my work that I do. I do shamanic style healing energy work here and some other things. I produce content of different kinds, and I have another business as well. But when you make an appointment with me, let's say, for a reading, and you go to my website, artoflove.me, my payment processor is a company called Stripe, and so you actually, put your credit card, and then it, saves the spot in my calendar. I get those messages like 2-3 different ways because of how they text me, and where I've set up my donations with a special PayPal link that's linked here on my YouTube and also on my website, I haven't been getting the notifications. I guess that's maybe like a Mercury retrograde thing. I don't know, but I was just in my PayPal account because I was paying for a reading from a reader here on YouTube who I really care about a lot, and I love her messages, and she uses PayPal. And so when I was going to pay for my reading with her, I looked in my PayPal account, and there was all this money that I didn't know had come in, and it was money from you all. And so, wow, what a surprise for me. And it just was an awesome kind of thing, and I didn't realize like how abundant I'd become behind the scenes just by the TLC and just, the reciprocal actions that others have taken to show me that they value what I've been contributing. So thank you for being that mirror to me, and I appreciate you. And I will just let you know that you might not know this about me. I do things a very specific way. I've groomed myself a very specific way, and the way that I seed my life and the things, everything that comes to me, tends to have a ripple effect follow it of supernatural luck. And I'm just going to tell you that for those of you who have chosen to seed my work here, my ministry, my life, my needs, I've planted those seeds for you. And so may my cosmic blessings ripple into your life in ways that astound you. Thank you for being a witness for me. I break these readings down using 5 different decks of cards. For your challenge style energy, I'm going to be using Carolyn Mace's archetype deck. It's going to give us a light and shadow attribute. For your physical and material sector, we are going to be looking with the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck. For the mental realm, I look with the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. For the personal, sometimes romantic sector, we use Doreen Virtue's Romance Angels Oracle deck, and I like to seal everything up with some practical advice from Archangel Michael and a prayer. So that's what you'll be getting from me. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you on the inside of your videos. Earth Tribes, happy October to you. I actually meant to get to these yesterday, and I was like in a little bit of pain, and so I'm like a really big like self-love, self-care kind of person, and so I didn't push it. I wanted to be really clear and feeling good before I did these, and I'm really glad I did, because I've been getting like so many messages. I mentioned it in the intro, and it's like even before I do anything, just when I'm cleaning in between these readings, I'm like just picking up a lot of stuff. And so I'll tell you, I was hearing something really weird that I didn't like it, and I know somebody's probably dealing with this right now, and it made more sense to me when I started lighting the sage. But where to start? Let's see here. I kept hearing these lyrics, and I was trying to figure out what it was from. It's a Lana Del Rey song called Blue Jeans, and I just kept hearing like, I will love you till the end of time, I will wait 1,000,000 years. And then I was hearing something about like resistance, and then they were saying something about like treatments that were like resistant, or a disease that was resistant to treatments, and that somebody's love is going to be their eternal bride. It was like not something I loved to hear, because it sounded like people were giving up, is what I was hearing on somebody's situation, and I don't know who that is. It was associated to the Virgo, and when I lit your sage, it was like the one that didn't want to catch. It was not like taking the light, is what I heard. And the guides were like kicking my ass. They were just like, you need to tell them about the fact that they're probably just doing it wrong. And they're saying doing it wrong. I am not a doctor, okay? I will just say that. I am, however, someone that has learned some fucking radical things about healing, and I'm just being told that if they learn how to do it, a little differently, they can burn this with light. And so, look, don't give up. And they're saying one way or the other, though, she's always going to wait for you. And I don't know if you need to hear that. whoever's watching it for that reason. But there was that, and the song was Blue Jeans by Lana Del Rey. They said that'll hit for somebody. The other thing too, when I was getting started over here, like something happened with Taurus, and it was just like I just felt it pulling on my heart a lot, because I have like Taurian people that are really dear to me, and like some of the people I love the most have really strong Taurian placement, and I just saw something like get like burned and then broken, and I heard the words burned up, broken down, and they just wanted me to like relay a message. If you're the person watching it for that reason, I don't know if this is about the Taurus or if it's like something that the Taurus is dealing with. I'm just being told that there was someone that loves you a lot, and that they're not going to let you fall, and that there are things that you're just not like, they're saying comfortable doing, and part of it isn't just because you're stubborn. It's just because it's like, and it's not just because it's like out of your comfort zone. It's just literally something you've never learned to compute before, is what I'm hearing. And so, you know, they said it like fucking broke their calculator. They're like, you know, it's not even in the Taurus calculator. And so, but they were saying, you know, that that feeling is really, I mean, it's going to pass. It was there for a reason, and part of this is because some of your energy was being obstructed in whatever that bond was, and so I'm supposed to tell you that that fucked up pain that you're feeling right now is a karmic release. And please don't jump to any negative conclusions right now on yourself. They're saying that like an energetic detox would be really important, especially if you're somebody that's like been dealing with your own like past with some sort of addictions. They're just saying that like this thing here, this has really been just a part of your vessel just being cleaned of that, and the only way to do it, it's like, I mean, you know, it's like how you make a fucking diamond. You know, how is a diamond made? It's like just, it's like literally put through the pressure of hell, right? And heat and all that, and then poof, there's your diamond. You know, it's like something beautiful comes out of this like really like crazy pressure process. And so I was seeing it kind of like that, and I don't know if it's just that, but they were saying something about an addiction, and they said, and you know, I heard she, and it can be anybody. It doesn't have to just be she, he, they, but they said, you know, she's burned up and broken down, and needs to know someone loves her and won't let her fall. And so I wrote it down. That's what I got. I heard something about a major shakeup that started in 9, so I guess that's still like right now, because I'm recording this on the 28th of September for the October readings, but I kept seeing 9, and they said it's something to do with someone's mom, and that there's been like a major shakeup, and that it's like time to just like go. And I was seeing something with the water signs too about cutting bait, and somebody just like feeling like they had almost like a noose around their neck, but they were like being pulled underwater. And they were just saying something about like cutting just some ties, and then I just saw like all this light, and then the person like popped up out of the water like a cork. And so they were saying that it's really like, I mean, for somebody, this is really about like something that maybe you thought wouldn't happen, and like it's a good thing though, because you didn't believe that something good like this could happen for you. And it's like, I'm just being told that it's not that it's fleeting, because it's not that you're never going to have the opportunity, but this past that's coming around right now, it's like there's a finite time for you to act now, or you're going to miss this one, and you're going to have to wait for your next opportunity. One way or the other, though, they said it's a good thing, and that this is really about karmic release, and that you need to know that it's okay for you to leave, especially if you're in a fucked up, toxic thing. And, yeah. And they were just warning me, too, that if somebody's telling you that something is, like, too resistant, that there's no hope, it's like, you know, just be careful who you're listening to, especially if that news came to you last month and, like, over this, like, whole Mercury retrograde stuff, because some things were twisted, and I'm hearing there were a lot of miscommunications, and that some things were actually not really accurate. And I was seeing some stuff that reminding me, it was air tribes, I think. And I was seeing somebody like waiting to sign off on something, and I was seeing somebody just doing something with a really big pen stroke, and it was like, I'm hearing the word absolved, you know, that it was something that was going to like absolve this other person or whatever. But anyway, one way or the other, if the news came last month, I'm hearing the situation might have changed now, just because there have been some miscommunications, and not to allow anybody sorry, I lost my feed there. My video finished rendering, and I was trying to turn it off so it wouldn't just start playing while I was recording, and I actually lost the recording. So anyway, they were just saying that like things might be subject to reversal right now. And some of y'all know this, that like a lot of times when we'll hear something and it's like coming around during like a Mercury retrograde cycle, what we thought was happening sometimes doesn't end up being what it seemed like that everybody was like freaking out about. And so I'm just being told, you know, make sure you're tempering your own just how you're letting yourself feel about things, and buying too much into like, you know, doom and gloom thinking based on what other people have told you. And you know, I know that's really easy for me to say and probably really freaking hard to do, especially if you're having like, you know, Nine of Swords nights you know, where you're like up worried about stuff. But I'm just being told that, you know, there's a lot more that could be looked at here, and that somebody's been going about it all wrong. And that's not just about that disease thing. I'm just being told, I just kept hearing the words doing it wrong, doing it wrong, doing it wrong, and that somebody was going to find out that they've just been kind of going at it from like a disadvantageous angle. And so just make sure, especially if you've heard anything negative over the past like, you know, 45, 60 days, okay, just to re-examine it now. Okay, give it another look-see, and try not to like just buy into like the worst case scenario. Alright, I'm going to put this down and shuffle the decks. There's going to be 5 as usual, dealing with the backs up until I'm ready to read them, and I won't pick up unless I have something to say. So, here we go. Alright, so kind of a stack fell. I was shuffling the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, which I use for the physical material realm. And I'm just going to read the one that's facing me because it's the one that's on top. And there's a whole stack here. I'm not going to flip them all, but I heard that somebody is leaving a really difficult time that had them hanging on for dear freaking life and feeling like there just wasn't enough, and that it's like made them feel really like humbled in some kind of way, but that they're actually really feeling relieved because that place that they were ignoring before, or that maybe they felt they were being ignored, I'm hearing for somebody, but that place has invited them, that there's some inviting place. And kind of this card, like, you know, people have different opinions on it. A lot of times the way I see it, I mean, I know it doesn't look great and it can be like a broke feeling and everything too, but one thing I do see here is that that couple has been together and they've stayed together, and I'm hearing for some people that like the only reason why they had that broke feeling is because that person was really just at a distance. And so it's like, but they were kind of walking, I'm hearing, through like something really, really, you know, challenging. Look at that, you know, they're kind of like broken down and beat, but they're together. And I'm hearing in some cases they just like met up like that, and that they actually met up in front of this like place, and that they are actually going in now. And well, I guess I'm flipping over the cards because they started to show themselves. I'm hearing it might have had something to do with maybe one of the slowest nights on the planet showing up. Maybe they have some starlight qualities. Could be somebody that has Aquarius in them. And I'm hearing they went to bat for you, or you went to bat for them. And that what you left behind really sucked, and that this is actually a good thing. Because it means that you're not like holding on so tight to the past. So I just heard that. And I heard it took a lot of faith. So if that's you, go on you. I'm also hearing too that for somebody that was feeling sick like this, that if this was your sickness, that it might not be as bad as they were telling you, and they might be fucking doing it wrong. Get a second opinion. I'm serious. You know, especially if somebody told you something kind of like outlandish or like serious, hectic, see a completely different kind of doctor too. Don't just see somebody in the same kind of field. Like, see somebody in the same field in a complementary study. Like, you know, go see like an oriental doctor. Go see, you know, a doctor of oriental medicine. Go see, you know, a naturopath. Go see somebody else and just get, you know, opposite opinions, because I don't know. I'm just hearing for somebody it's going to make a big difference. I heard it again. It's something about burning it with light. I'm not ready to talk too much about mine, but I learned something really freaking radical about burning diseases with light. And if you know a good light worker that knows how to sprinkle this stuff that I wave over you guys with my hands, that's the stuff I'm talking about. The card just flew out, so I gotta say it. Make sure you're getting enough vitamin D3 too, especially for any women that are watching this. Biological women, make sure you're getting enough vitamin D3 right now, okay? And when you take it, you need to take it with food. You have to take it with something so that it's actually being absorbed. But make sure that you're getting enough, especially now that it's autumn season and that there's maybe, you know, less sunlight exposure that you're getting. Make sure those levels are high enough. because it's going to affect your hormones and how you feel, okay? Balance. I'm hearing for somebody, actually for some of y'all, this is really about your hormones. Make sure you're getting your blood work checked if they're telling you something about your hormone levels. I'm also hearing something about a life path 11 person. You might have a life path 11 person in your life. Besides me, I'm a life path 11 too. This might be weird. They just showed me like an image in my mind. I think it's actually the Release Your Ex card from the Doreen Virtue Romance Angel Oracle deck. I'm pretty sure it's the Release Your Ex. It's like someone that I would, call female. She's sitting there and she's like, oh, like this, like with a letter. And it's like, release the ex. And they were just saying it was like bad baggage. Wow, I heard somebody had to cut something out of them, and the hormonal trials that they had actually had more to do with that ex and that person's chemical imbalance, and the fact that you're so freaking empathic that somehow you were like processing their stuff, and that's how it manifested in your body. And they said you really need to let that person go. I heard bad news, just like bad news. And they said something about bad news, that it was like bad news, that like the letter, they said the letter was bad news, and that she knew it, and that she knows she needs to let it go because it's hurting her. And so, I don't know, that doesn't have to be her, it can be him. I'm just hearing what they're saying. They were explaining like what I was seeing in that card, like talking to me about the character that I saw in my mind. So you'll know if it makes sense to you or not, but I was just hearing that for some of you all, that, it's a really good thing to look at doing some kind of detox right now. I'm just hearing that some of you all could really benefit from good somatic release, that like anything that's going to help get things out of your cells and out of your body, really good cleanses. Get energy work if you can, if you have somebody that you trust doing that, or if you're looking for somebody, I do it too. Energy work. I got a really good hit on like cranial sacral and like reflexology, something like that for some of y'all. But even just like a good massage, and then just like drinking some waters, and do like a salt bath or something. It will be really, really helpful, because I'm hearing that for some of you, it's just like, you're trying to get something out of your life, and you've been working at it a really long time, and I heard that some of y'all are like ready to fucking give up, and especially because of what happened in July, and they keep showing me July, and just like somebody just like freaking out, like just looking really like very, very upset. And so if that's you, I'm very sorry. I'm praying for all of you, and if there's anything I can do, or do a personal prayer for you or anything, please reach out. Just go to my website and send a message. And I'm hearing something just about like it getting cut out, and that it's like, they're just showing me like clean it up, and they're just saying like clean it up, and just like get rid of anything that has to do with that person if you can. And you're going to know if that's you and you want to do that. If you're really trying to get something out of your life, it's kind of like doing an exorcism. And energetically, if you're a very, very sensitive person, a lot of times, that's really what it is. You're like really energetically banishing something from your space, and like cleaning up very, very well, so that you can, have your space back and it be clean, and it your way, especially if you're leaving something controlling, or something that just had a clutch on you for whatever I'm being told was a very good reason, and you were stuck. And so I'm just hearing that y'all are not as stuck as some of you are being told you are, and don't let anybody fucking lie to you, and that there have been people like kind of getting away with some bullshit too, because the situations have been sort of like ripe for that. Just the way the situations have been, it's been easy for people to be sneaky. And I just think that, you're going to know if this is for you or not, and if you need to get somebody out of your life, and if you need help, that there are people that love you and that will help you. And if you don't know those people yet, please look, because there are people that will show up. And so, just clean it up, and do a good detox. If you're really trying to eliminate something right now, I'm just being told, like, go on a cleanse, take a salt bath, just do something to spoil yourself fucking rotten, because I'm hearing you deserved it. So I'm going to finish shuffling. I've got one more deck here, and then I think they said we're going to go Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. Okay? that just like flipped over while I was laying down the cards. It said you've created the situation, you have the power to change it. So I hear that. I think that's like exactly what I was hearing for you guys, especially for the ones that are hearing something fucking hectic from somebody right now, especially if it had something to do with like your health or somebody's health, and you know, anybody telling you that, you know, it's like so finite. And I'm not saying it to put any false hopes on anybody, I'm just saying do your own due diligence, okay? And realize that, you know, just because you might get a second opinion from somebody that practices the same exact field of medicine doesn't mean that's like a true second opinion. Sometimes you want to look at like the counter side of that science, you know, because sometimes you want both sides working together. And so that's all I'm going to say. Look into integrative stuff, please, okay? They say that you can rewrite the situation, and I'm a guy that's freaking crazy enough to believe in it because I came back from the fucking dead, okay? And so I'm just telling you, I believe in miracles, and don't let anybody get in your head. Alright, we're going to do Taurus, and then we're going to do Capricorn, and then we're going to finish everything up with Virgo. And I'm going to light a little bit more sage, and then we'll start. Taurus, happy October to you. I'm gonna flip your cards. Alright. I heard some of y'all are a little frustrated right now. For a good reason. They said that your upside down world is about to turn right side up. And some of y'all been hesitating because it's got y'all stirred up in some places that make you feel a little uncertain of how to keep your balance. I'm hearing a lot of it has to do with what you've called into your life. And so, you know, they say that, you know, this difficult stuff that you turned your back on, and I'm hearing for a lot of you it had to do with like an emotional disappointment with, you know, a relationship that just had you feeling like, in some cases starved, in other cases just like choked in some kind of way. I'm hearing for some of y'all it was like financial, and others it was just like, you know, just like a withholding situation in some case, you know, where somebody like turned their back. And they're saying for some of y'all it's been going on like 2 to 4 years. I'm seeing 3 years a lot for somebody, but you know, they're saying that right now there's like a whole lot of light that's like trying to come into your life that's like really starting to heal. In some cases I'm seeing a balance of chemistry on a hormonal level. I keep getting this health stuff. And I gotta tell you, because I just did Water Tribes. Who was it? Chemistry. you might be spending some time with, who is it? I got this card just a little while ago. Ah, here we go. Somebody that's got Scorpio element. Could be you too. You know, maybe you've got some Scorpio in your chart. Maybe your Ascendant, your Sun, maybe your Moon. But yeah, y'all got the same card here, actually. And so I'm being told for some people, it's really about a hormonal thing, though. And for other people, it's seriously like something that's got your world spinning. Like, you almost feel like you're upside down. And I'm hearing for somebody, it's like pulling you out of a long period where you just kind of wanted to wall off from life. And so, even if it's not like sexual chemistry, which clearly for somebody, or a lot of you, it is. This is sacral chakra. It's your second chakra. Great baby-making energy if you're looking to conceive. I'm seeing it happening here. It's here for somebody. And for others, it's just like something that you have wanted that maybe has been sort of like idealized, that might seem too good to be true, I'm hearing, has shown up. And it's like, you kind of want to like take those walls down, I'm hearing. And so that's really interesting. I'm being told that that's going to be great for some of y'all. And I'm hearing too, like, if you're like going on dates or anything, like outdoor dates would be really good. Getting a really good hit on autumn colors here, orange, tan, brown, But let's go ahead and just break these cards down a little bit too. Using Carolyn Mace's archetype cards, Spirit's giving you the Prince, Taurus, the Prince archetype, light attributes, state, romantic charm, and potential for power. Shadow attributes, using power for self-aggrandizement. And I'm going to just jump into the book for you here. Got us a book. And this is going to explain that Prince energy just a little bit. I'm hearing for some of you, this is like, you're considering like how you're going to resituate like your kingdom is what I'm hearing. And that like you've had a prince on the horizon that you might actually be kinging. And they're showing me like, kind of like, when you play checkers and then, somebody like lands on, they stack the checker. And so I'm being told that's what the 2 is in some cases. It's about a relationship and the chemistry. But anyway, let's see here. Prince. Here's what it says, Scorpio. Or Taurus. Sorry. There's Scorpio again. There's a Scorpio connection here for some of you. Prince. True prince is a ruler in training who serves the people he will someday lead, whether in a literal, figurative, or spiritual kingdom. And I'll just say too, it says it can also be any gender. It's speaking to the archetype of prince, but I don't really like do the gender thing. I'm not going to tell you how to interpret your own gender, okay? This is saying that this is an energy that's around you that works on this spectrum, and it can play out in any kind of person or situation. So it might just be how things are around you, but it also might be how you're like tempted to feel or act, or how you see people interacting with you. Characteristics of generosity, fairness, compassion, and wisdom should be well balanced. Last bullet point states, Shadow Prince can manifest as a young man with great feelings of entitlement who uses his position and power purely to advance his own interests without regard for the needs of others. And they've given us a tip here. It says, look for a history of preparing for leadership in one particular realm. And so they say that's like what you're doing. You've been like cultivating your space, and that some of y'all have been like building your kingdom and your castle, and you're like really proud of your home and your surroundings and your family and your friends, but it's like something's stuck if this is you. or it's been stuck, or you've been hesitating. And I'm hearing for some of y'all, it's just been because you've been just like your head spinning. You know, there's been a lot of changes, and some of y'all, you were just waiting for like this Mercury retrograde thing, but I'm also hearing something might have been tied up. And so, you know, physical material realm here, Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, we've got the World card showing up in reverse. And like I said, I think this is some of y'all. They said for one or more people, it's like coming out of the closet on something, and it's either like an addiction. I'm hearing for somebody it's been a sex addiction, and you know, they've been covering it up for a long time, and it's just been like, you know, something they had to work through, and you know, now they're like ready to express themselves and like just kind of bear their truth with somebody. And I'm hearing a song. There's a song. Oh God. It's Are you the right man for me? Are you safe? Are you my friend? It's Cocteau Twins, Bluebeard. Cocteau Twins, Bluebeard is the song. It's going to resonate for somebody, and I'm just hearing, you know, it's like about feeling safe. And like, this is a month right now, the beginning of the month, where somebody's feeling really stirred up by this gesture, or someone making a gesture, or wanting to make a gesture, because things are stirred up, and just not really being sure, you know, if it's like the right decision or not. And I'm hearing in some cases, you know, you're gonna know if it's good or not, because, you know, this feeling that's like, you know, maybe get you lit up in certain areas, because this is on your mind. Sacral chakra, I mean, it's a very creative and sexual energy. It's passionate, it's driven. You know, it could just be a fertile time about taking on new projects, or like wanting to complete things, because the World is the last of the major arcana, you know, out of a 78 card deck. This is the last one in the major, so this is completion here. So it's like something's getting ready to happen here. And there's a lot of passionate energy around it. And so, you know, they're just saying, you know, pay attention to what you're feeling. And, you know, the clue here is to be naked in your own truth. And if only with yourself, so that you can determine whether or not it's something you want to turn around and like present to, or be presented to, you're going to get a feeling. And they're saying right now, it's like you're kind of like in that place where, you know, the next couple of weeks, you're going to be feeling it. I feel like it's going to be very tactile for a lot of y'all. And, you know, just get ready, because like if you're not somebody that's used to feeling that, you know, this might be a really psychic time for you. And especially if you're experiencing like magnetic attraction with somebody like that, look, they've got like energy that they feel, that they can like interact with just by being connected together. And so like that can hit you in all kinds of places. And I'm hearing for some of y'all it's going to be very, very triggering. And, you know, just make sure you're taking care of your needs. And especially if you're not sure how you want to like interact with that. And especially if you've had like, you know, past with either somebody that's got like a sex addiction, or if you had a sex addiction and you're just not even sure if it's like okay to share that light ball with somebody. You know, they're saying, you know, do what you need to do that helps you feel grounded and safe, so that you're expressing that, because this is a good time to enjoy it. And so it's like, even if, you know, you're just feeling that with yourself, and maybe it's just like you're thinking about wanting something like this after maybe feeling like blocked for a long time, you might be in a good position to meet somebody really awesome. You know, somebody that maybe you do think is too good to be true, and you know what, you might just meet them by spending a little more time outdoors too. And so they're just saying like anything that's like bringing, like stirring that passion in a way that feels good, let's just say, in like a balanced way in your life, like now's a really good time to put yourself around it. And that, you know, maybe maybe you won't be feeling so inhibited anymore too. And maybe that's why this is upside down too, because sometimes right side up too, you know, this is like walls around this person. I'm just going to say woman. She's got like walls around her. You know, she's been protecting herself. And I'm hearing in some cases she had like a surgery that made her feel really insecure about stuff. And, you know, it's just like she hasn't wanted to like let anybody in her space in a long time. You know, really long time. That 21 right there turns into 3. I kept hearing like 2 to 4 years for somebody, so I'm hearing like 3 years, you know, and she's protected herself, you know, and she, he, they, you know, whoever it is, they get their love from different things. I hear they have like people and like animal companions that are there, and it's like they've been like walled up with that, and I'm feeling like here, it's almost like she, he, they're like releasing that a little bit. And so it's like you're gonna know if it's like safe for you to do that or not. But I'm hearing for some of y'all too that that's actually gonna help let that light in, that's gonna heal you in some way. And so, you know, take it if it's yours. Let's see what the book says on the sacral chakra here, because we're using the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck for your mental sector, and I really like these chakra cards. You know, when they show up like this too, since I used this card or this deck for the mental stuff, it's actually pointing to an awareness of a certain need or feeling. And since the sacral chakra, your second chakra, is the one that deals with like drives that make us feel good, you know, urges to like express and share and connect, you know, all that creative, fiery, passionate stuff. If that's on the mind, it's just drawing an emphasis to the fact that perhaps if we're waiting, something's pending completion, that the clue has to do with a need for that energy to be injected some kind of way. And so that's what's on your mind. 2, sacral chakra. Key facts. Color, orange. Sound, vom. Element, water. Glands, testicles, ovaries. Keywords, I want. Known as the sacral chakra, the second chakra is located 2 fingers below your navel and relates to emotions, desires, creativity, and sexuality. To keep this chakra balanced and its energy flowing, try dancing, moving your hips and lower abdomen, use color meditation, and practice yoga. Express your sexuality and nurture yourself, and remember, you do matter. And yeah, maybe wear that color. Might look great on you. But the thing with water too, I was hearing too, I mean, there's like a lot of, looks like water around this person here that they're looking at. And so I'm hearing for some of y'all too, it's just maybe spending a little more time around somebody with water influence. That might be water all around this person here. You know, maybe she needs to like go spend some time and, you know, near some water, put her feet in the pool, take a bath. Or just like be around somebody that's maybe got some water element here. And that's one thing I don't see here, you know. We got a bird, we got a bull, we got a lion, we got a person. But there's no water here. And so if this is you, Earth sign, darling Taurians, maybe you need to spend time with a little watery person. You know, somebody that's like going to nurture that, because it's going to help you maybe move something that was stagnant, if you had some stagnant chi, you know, and that might feel really good just to help you move your sacral chakra. And it doesn't have to be sexual, you know, it doesn't have to be sexual, but for some of y'all it very well is going to be. And I'm hearing it's probably going to be pretty hot, because it says there's a strong magnetic attraction here, chemistry. Let's see what the book says. Alright, Taurus. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. You've received this card because you feel a strong dynamic pull toward another person. In other words, you share chemistry with him or her, or them. This creates intense, pleasurable sensations that draw you to each other. If this person is someone other than your partner in a committed relationship, then the chemistry is probably a source of both stress and escape. You'll need to weigh your options and the consequences carefully before, instead of, leaving your current partner or embarking upon an affair. If, however, you're single and feel the pull toward another unattached person, then this card brings you a go-ahead green light of good news. Most likely the chemistry is mutual and merits exploration. In some cases, this card may mean that a lack of chemistry is a cause for relationship issues and personal discontent. If there was chemistry initially, it may be restored by devoting effort to the relationship. Passion, sparks, and romance can be revived through playfulness, thoughtfulness, time together, and caring gestures. Call upon the romance angels to guide you as you make important decisions about channeling this chemistry. Yeah, and I'm hearing that that's in some cases why this is upside down too. I heard that somebody wanted to propose something and they just didn't trust it for some reason and turned it down. So, I mean, you're going to know if that's for you, and if you're just contemplating a decision, just bring up, this is 2 again. I know they're talking about second chakra, but, a lot of times too, it's making a decision too. And so, if that's you and you're making a decision, there's just going to be some clues for you to connect to those lower chakra energies in a way that's going to support you, Taurus. Especially if you're feeling ungrounded about a connection with somebody, whether or not it has anything to do with love or sex, because chemistry can just be calling things into your life very rapidly, stuff that's creative that you love a lot, that's what passion is, and maybe coming to a point of almost completion, and maybe just having to decide whether or not, you want it, because that prince looks like they're just waiting, to present that offer. Right? And I'm feeling for some of them, it's they're afraid because see that noose or that scarf around their neck there? It's not too long ago, someone was yanking their chain is what I'm hearing. And so, if that's the case, you have some good instincts and if you need to be protecting yourself in some kind of way. And I'm just being told that, that's going to really help you. And so, go do yoga outside or something if you can. Or, put your feet in the dirt. Or, get around some water. I got a really good hit on the water. I think it's going to be great for you. Go sit in a sensory deprivation tank if you have those available. I do it all the time out here. They're freaking awesome. The salt water's great. It's very relaxing on the body. And, that might be a good thing to do, too, if it's cold where you are. But if you can go outdoors, I think you're going to find something good for you there. I'm going to go ahead and seal it up on this prayer here for you, Taurus. From Archangel Michael. Spend more time outdoors. Dear Archangel Michael, thank you for motivating me to spend more time outdoors and for helping me relax and enjoy connecting with nature. Amen. Alright, Taurus, that's what I got for you. I hope you liked it. If you did, thumbs up, share, subscribe, and I just gotta say it. If there's something pending about a surgery and it having to do with reproductive health, if you have the chance to kind of take your time making decisions, I'm just feeling maybe now's a good time to do that and make sure that you feel comfortable with what you're doing and that nobody's rushing you through it, because that's a personal decision. As medically important as it is, especially because it might be medically important, please take your time making your decision so that you feel good about what you're doing, because you can't make everybody happy. And I tell you what, it's not fair for you to feel like you just have to listen to all that, when you're making a decision like that. And I know it's hard, especially when you have family, peanut gallery, and all that fucking bullshit. And so, you need to feel grounded and comfortable about what you're doing. And if you haven't gotten that real legit second opinion, I'm just feeling like you should. It's a good time to do it. Get your healing. I'm praying for you. And if you need a personal prayer, please reach out, okay? Sending you love. I'm going to burn some more sage here, and then we're going to jump on to Capricorn. Capricorn, how you doing? Happy October to you. Gonna flip your cards. Alright, Capricorn. This card actually showed itself while I was doing the shovel for Earth Tribes, so I always told you might have a Life Path 11 person in your midst if that's not you. They were saying something about Life Path 11 to me before, and so pay attention to that. Balance, focal point for the next couple weeks here, Capricorn. That's great. That card actually is, if you were looking at a more traditional deck, that's actually your Justice card. Completely different spin here from the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck. This is actually the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, so looks completely different. That other one, there's like, somebody sitting, there's like a judge, and here, this kind of looks a little bit more like that Temperance card, right? The big angel and all the tools, so they're saying your archetype for the next couple weeks, first part of October, is the Dilettante card, Capricorn. Light attribute state, delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. Shadow attribute state, pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. And I'm hearing for some of y'all, this is seriously just about the new job or the one that you're trying to call in. I hear that some people are like trying to make a decision right now as to whether to stay at the job because they can't tell if it's like advancing or not, and in other cases just wanting to like do a completely different job but feeling like disempowered somehow, because I'm hearing this is actually you showing up reversed in your own reading for a lot of you Capricorns. This is the King of Pentacles, okay? This is actually the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck. And I love this King. That's you. That's your birthright. Whether you're, whatever gender you are, doesn't really matter with regard to, what you see here on this card, because what it's saying here is that the person that embodies the top tier, let's say, of that suit, Pentacles, is the king. And that king can actually be, she, he, they, or whatever. So you can just take this to say that if this is you, when it's upright, you're at the top of your game. That's where Capricorn likes to be anyway. That's what y'all are all about, right? And this way, it's kind of feeling like disempowered if that's you, right? And so, dilettante, I'm just hearing it's like, some of y'all put yourself out there for something really big, and maybe you haven't heard yet, and it's making you feel like, like, shit, am I, like, not good enough, and that sort of thing. And I'm just being told in a lot of cases, it's the same stuff I was hearing for some of the other signs. This Mercury retrograde has been, like, really freaking slow for a lot of people. A lot of the stuff that I was hearing was supposed to start, didn't start until, like, later for some people, and it's just, shit's sluggish. And predictions, time-wise, can be so elusive. People say they're good at, predicting times, and sometimes that's true, and that can happen too. And sometimes really good predictions have been like years off, like thousands or hundreds and tens, and sometimes just 2 or 3. And look, now we're talking about like weeks and months. So some of this stuff, you know, you're just going to have to pay attention to your life. You know, it doesn't all come in little bite-sized boxes, and I know that fucks y'all up because you're Capricorns, you like to be on the top of things, you like to call the shots, you know, y'all the shot caller. When you show up like this, you're not really happy or feeling secure, and I think that's what that dilettante thing's all about. But what I'm being told is, whether or not you pray, if you're not praying, focus and relax, because they're saying that it's kind of going to come together. And I feel like if you keep focused on it, you know, it's going to happen. And in some cases, they're saying, you know, that this the relationship that's showing up here in your personal/romance sector using the Joy and Virtues Romance Angels card has nothing to do with romance for some of y'all. It's just really about, like, you deciding to give your job a chance and finding a way to kind of, like, feel good about the balance there. And so for some of you, I'm hearing it's about asking for a raise, and that, you know, it's time to, like, step out of whatever role you were in, that you're, like, doing all this shit. Like, I'm seeing some of you just, like, multitasking like crazy and, like, doing all this stuff and just being underpaid, underrepresented, and it's just like, where's my freaking coin? And that this is, like, this month you're just kind of like, all right, this needs to change, and if it doesn't, I don't know, but I'm willing to stick it out if you make it worth my while, is what I'm hearing. And so if you need to ask for the raise, I think do it, but, you know, give it a good consideration about how you do it first. But I'm hearing your boss might actually be pretty cool in some cases, and that you really just need to get very clear about how you're explaining what you do, because this is like you helping somebody understand, like, how gifted you are and, like, what kind of balance you bring there, and how shit will just be crazy if they lose you. And you're the one that's kind of, like, holding things together. And so I'm hearing that some of this is you letting them know why they need to retain you, and that the coin might need to be upped a little bit. Okay? So let's see what the book says on the dilettante here, Capricorn. Again, this is the Carolyn Mace archetype deck. Here's what the book looks like. We've actually got a keyword and 5 bullet points in a tip. Dilettante, amateur, first bullet point. A lover of the fine arts who never rises above the level of amateur. Second one says, by extension, a jack of all trades, master of none. And that can be a Jill of all trades or an other of all trades. The third one says, amateur applies to the realm of sports or useful arts such as cooking and gardening. Fourth one says, both can alert you to the danger of becoming merely superficial in your pursuits or losing the love that drew you to your avocation in the first place. And the last one says, shadow dilettante manifests as a pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess, taking your dabbling too seriously. And the tip they want you to keep in mind, Capricorn, is to look for a pattern of delighting in the arts or other areas of endeavor without going very deep. So yes, salient advice to keep in mind, and I'm hearing in some cases, but not too much, because I think in some cases, you know, that's you, and this is just you feeling insecure, you know, and, like, maybe afraid to ask. And I'm hearing in some cases it's just truly a pride thing, and they're saying that some of y'all really need to check your own ego, because it's like working against you in that way, that it's like, you know, you're not, like, in a begging position to explain to another person why your value is not being matched with a reciprocal return. And so, you know, it's all in how you ask, and it's all in how you demonstrate yourself. And so I'm hearing in some cases it's just, you guys need to take a little time. Maybe, you know, talk to a counselor or pray. because they're saying you're going to figure out what it is that you need to do to like bring the shit into balance so that, you know, you're being compensated for what you're doing. And just make sure too, though, you know, because you might be dealing with somebody that's just like trying to be like, oh, like they know everything, and they really don't. And so, you know, they're saying that, you know, in some cases you need to be careful about how you're dealing with that person because, you know, it's really a good person and you know it, or it's something that's like maybe going to threaten the security of your situation and some foundations, because, you know, that's what this is. This is security. That's like the epitome of security. That's a secure cat right there. This way, not so much. You know, it's like scattered. And so make sure, you know, you're giving it a good consideration here, and that you're also being just, because they're saying karma is like a really big thing here. And I'm hearing in some cases, you know, some people have not been very balanced and they have not been giving the relationship a chance, whether that's you or someone else, and that they have been like fucking with somebody that's like, you know, not somebody that they should have been messing with. I'm hearing that it's like, you know, they were like picking on somebody that they shouldn't have been, that was like trying to be supportive. And so, you know, just make sure that you're paying attention to how people are treating you and how you're treating others, because they're saying there's like a really big ego challenge here, and in some cases that's actually what's been throwing off all the balance. And I'm hearing that, you know, love is always going to be the answer. So if there's been like an ego challenge here, because a lot of times that's what this is. This is like just a bad ego, you know? And so just check yourself, you know, if it's you or if it's someone else, because it's not like about like trying to like win or lose. Sometimes it's just about like bringing balance to the situation, especially if it's people that you love. And so, you know, I just keep seeing angels and people hugging here, you know, give your relationship a chance. Prayer helping the situation. There's that same angel here, and I'm being told that that person that's praying has been fucked with and fucked with and fucked with. The person with all the tools that's like bringing light, and that this is like a karmic consequence to the one that's been fucking with them. So if that's you and you've been fucked with, I'm being told it's not going to last. That it's like there's karma at play here, and it's like somebody's not going to get it. Whatever it is they're trying to get or leverage, because they've been fucking with the wrong person. Is what I'm hearing. Because this person, if that's you or someone else, is protected. That's his balance. And that is an angel. That is an archangel. Let's see here. Psychic Tarot Oracle deck book. This is what's showing up on the mind here, Capricorn. 11, balance. Major arcana. Could be major stuff going down in your life too. Major transformations, major things coming together, major protection in some situations, especially if things have been hectic. So here's what it says. This card represents the need for balance and harmony within your inner life, as well as with what's surrounding you in the physical world. This denotes that some lifestyle adjustments are required at this time. It could be associated with love, relationships, business, or even your career. The balance card is also being shown to help, also being shown to you to make you realize that what you perceive to be happening around you is really an externalization of an inner process or conflict that you may be currently experiencing. This card will often appear if you work in the legal field or when you're involved in law-related matters. Have faith that justice will triumph, as justice and karma go hand in hand. Take only what you've earned, treat people fairly, and don't take advantage of anyone. This is all part of living a balanced karmic life. When determining something, there must be a state of balance, emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, so that you can make rational decisions and logical judgments. This is a time to be honest and caring and responsible for the choices that you've made, as well as the ones that will be made in the future. Traditional tarot archetype, justice. So I'm hearing, you know, just a lot of solar plexus work. There's a lot of yellow showing up around all of this. You know, yellow, yellow, yellow. Yellow on this upside down character. Yellow lifting up the angel and all that stuff that they're holding there. Yellow behind these two that are embracing in a loving hug. And then there's like yellow over this angel's head here. And so it's like, you know, they're really, that's all about ego, guys, girls and others. And it doesn't have to be like a negative thing. It's not saying, calling you out on your ego or anything, but you will do really well just to check how you're feeling about stuff and how you're perceiving situations that determine your own self-worth and value, and how that's being monetized, and also how you're valuing others in your life. Because I'm being told in some cases, you know, that someone that should have been facing the other one head on turned their back, and it wasn't fair, and that there's been some consequences because of that, and that might be why some people are stuck on like that beginner phase. And so, you know, just pay attention to it, because it could be, you know, it can play out so many different ways. And, you know, this partnership here, this came up. Who got that? It says, give your relationship a chance. Somebody else just got that. Let me see here. Because, give a relationship a chance. Libra had gotten this. So you also might be dealing with a Libran person, or you might have some Libra in your own chart. And if not, you know, I'm just going to say the same thing that I said to Libra, especially if you're leaving like a shit situation, because I'm hearing in some cases this is like a marriage that's being like separated, and there was just like some severing, and that it's like, you know, somebody has been trying to make it sound like it's one thing, but it was another thing, and they were waiting for a signature, and I was getting a lot of that with the air signs. And I'm just hearing, though, that sometimes, especially if it was like an abusive situation of any kind, it doesn't have to be physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, all those things, that you should always feel like this with how you're treating yourself. And if you're in a relationship that feels like that other stuff that I just said, and you don't feel like you're holding yourself like this, and you're in a situation where you're just being like disregarded and undervalued and treated badly, that your relationship to yourself is really what's important right now. And you got to work on that, because that's actually what's going to bring you the balance that this month wants you to have. The first couple weeks here, they're wanting to put you back on your throne. So figure it out there, Capricorn. They're saying you can do it. Work on your relationship to yourself if you know, if you're not in a romantic partnership. But this is probably going to talk about that too, because in some cases this is about relationships that do deserve a second chance. And you know what? It might not be a marriage. It might be a relationship with other people. It could be business. It could be work, like I was saying before. You know, you might be deciding whether or not it's worth keeping your job. And so, you know, you're going to know how it fits for you. But here's what the book says. Work on your partnership. The romance angels see that your relationship is worth devoting effort to. Although there may be issues, these can be worked through and healed. You'll need to commit to the relationship to ensure the best chance of success. At the very least, if you do end it, you'll know that you gave it your all. You'll also understand the role that you played and its dynamics. In this way, you'll avoid attracting similarly painful situations in the future. You receive this card because there's hope for your partnership. The love is still there. Working with a counselor may be your best option at this point. This professional can identify areas of dysfunction and guide you both in healthier directions. So, definitely a good omen if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking to like start over with somebody, they're saying that energy right now is good to start over, kind of like beginners, and that, you know, that balance can really be there. So, you know, if you're just looking at, you know, trying to start that over again, some of y'all are going to know that it might make sense to do it. And, you know, I'm just going to leave you on the advice from Archangel Michael that prayer is going to help the situation. And if you want somebody to pray for you, I already am happy to do a personal prayer for you too as well. And we're going to go ahead and do one right now, Capricorn, because prayer is going to help the situation. Dear God and Archangel Michael and anyone else to whom you like to pray to, such as Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whoever, I ask you for divine intervention in my situation. I welcome your help, and I trust and follow your guidance with gratitude and grace. I need a miracle, and ask that you send one to me in this situation quickly. Thank you. Amen. Alright, Capricorn, that's what I got for you. I hope it made sense. I hope you liked it. If you did, thumbs up, share it with somebody, subscribe. And if I can do a personal for you, hit me up on my blog, artoflove.me. I'm also available for private prayers there too, so feel free to drop me a line. The welcome mat will drop down and greet you when you go to the website, and you know, those come to me and I just say a prayer. So I'm going to wrap it up on that and clear up here a little bit. I'm going to pause. I got to run and do something real quick. I'll come back. We're going to finish this off on our Virgo friends, and I'll be right back. I'm back. Gonna light a little bit of sage. We're gonna wrap it up on Virgo. What's going on, Virgo? Happy October to you. There were some kind of crazy messages that were coming up at the beginning. I don't know if you saw it. There might be some in there for you. I've been having a hard time keeping your sage lit. They're saying something about resistance. And I was hearing for some people that it actually had to do with like a disease or a bacteria being resistant to treatment or something somewhere. And I don't know if that has to do with you or someone else, but I'm lighting shit tons of sage right now because I didn't like what I heard. And so, if you're somebody that's dealing with that, I'm praying for you. And we're sending up a lot of smoke prayers right now to the light. And you're welcome to reach me at my blog, artoflove.me, for a prayer. Just drop it on the welcome mat. I'm being told don't give up, no matter what the fuck they're telling you. Some of us believe in radical healing. I'm a man who came back from the dead. Get a second opinion if you need it, okay? Alright, I'm gonna flip your cards. I'm being told some of y'all need to hear that. I'm being told that this has been going on since last month. Or this month. Today's the 28th that I'm recording this for, you know, the October readings. It's still September though. September 28th right now. And I'm being told some of y'all are just going to really experience something radical too. It has to do with your inner child and your own magic and some shit that you thought you couldn't have. That you gave up on. What was that dream? What was it, Virgo? Somebody's got some magical butterfly energy and they say you need to like tap into whatever that is, you know, and maybe you believed in fairies and, you know, magical things, and I'm being told that now's the time to keep doing that, Virgo. They're saying trust your intuition and lead on God. And I'm just going to pray for you right now because I'm just being led to do this. There's a lot of heavy shit that's been coming up for my Earth tribes. And there's a lot of stuff going on with y'all Virgos that are coming up for me right now. And I'm praying for you. We're going to lean on God, alright? Dear God and angels, I give you my situation, the situation of all Virgos here. Everybody, we're praying for Virgos. Now, and completely, I step out of the way and allow divine miracles to shine through everyone and through everything involved. Amen. Trust your intuition, Virgo. Okay? Let's see what the card says on this child magical. I really like this one here. Light attributes say, seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. Shadow attributes, pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. I'm just hearing somebody like stepped on your dreams. And part of it's just because I was getting some of your story, I think, a couple weeks ago. There's something about like your gifts and like how good you are at like some stuff, because I hear prodigy. Some of y'all were just like prodigy, like really like too good at something, and they just like thrust you into an adult world, and you didn't really get a chance to like have those dreams. And so it's like right now, for some reason, it's like something's been like threatening that, or you're just like feeling stressed out about this stuff. It's on your mind, and it's making you not trust for whatever reason. And I'm just hearing here that now is the perfect time to trust, and that you got some backup. They're saying you actually have someone you can lean on, not just God. See, it says angels, right? So I think you have people with you, Virgo. Let's see what the book says on the child magical. I use the Carolyn Mace archetype deck for these cards. And the thing about the children, these are one of the archetypes that we all have. And so there's it says here, of the 12 archetypes on our personal support teams, we all share 4. And one of the children is one of them. There's like 5 different children. We're all either the child, victim, prostitute, and saboteur at some point in our life. So, this isn't just like calling people out, or not just saying, oh, you're childish or anything like that. I'm saying that we all, as human beings, have this. And the kind of child that showed up for you is probably one of my favorite ones. It's the magical child. Here's what the book says. Another keyword to keep in mind is innocent. And the first bullet point says, sees potential for sacred beauty in all things. Embodies wisdom and courage in the face of difficult circumstances. Is gifted with imagination and the belief that everything is possible. The shadow magical child manifests as lack of faith in miracles and transformation, attitudes of pessimism and depression, and as the belief that energy and action are not required, allowing one to retreat into fantasy. And they've given you a tip here. It says, look for a pattern of transcendence over apparently negative circumstances from early on in life. You're saying you know that about yourself too, and that, I think it's probably been hard for a lot of people. This Mercury retrograde freaking sucked. Alright, let's be honest, it sucked for so many people. It was very confusing. For other people, though, it was highly transformative, and they actually had been up all night being stressed like this, dealing with that. But I'm hearing that why it's showing up like this right now is this is a different sort of thing. I'm hearing for some of y'all, this is actually just being up with awareness, and I'm hearing some of y'all are doing serious spirit work, and that you are trusting your intuition because of what you learned and the stupid shit that kept you up all night feeling like you were all tied up in knots, and that you are trusting yourself now because you went through it. And that's actually what got you in touch with your magic. It's like sometimes you just have to like go through that crap and just literally feel cut, you know? And I'm also hearing for some of y'all too that this indication here could just speak to someone that you might be dealing with over the next couple weeks, because this is air element, so you might either be an air tribesman or woman or other yourself and have, you know, strong Gemini, Libra, Aquarius somewhere in your chart, or it's possible that this is somebody that you're interacting with. And so it doesn't always have to be like a nightmare either. It could just be somebody that you're like talking to a lot, because these can be conversations and sometimes they can be stressful too. So, you know, I mean, it just really depends on who you are. But intuition is going to be key, especially for those of you that are making a very important decision right now. And I'm hearing that for some of you that this is all about a decision, and that this is a huge decision. There's a huge leap of faith that's involved, and that it has something to do with whether or not you trust in that magic. And so they're saying really the key here is your attitude. And so, you know, it's really just if you want to believe in it or not. I'm hearing that that light behind the door is everything it's all cracked up to be, and that, you know, you have a chance there, and you also have a chance there with that black pit. And either one that you focus on is 100% legit. They're saying you could be your own worst enemy right now, because it's whichever one you trust is the one you're going to get. They're saying one way or the other you win, because that's how good your magic is. So there's the blessing and the curse. If you're having challenges with this, you need to get some help. Lean on your angels and God for assistance. Talk to people that are helping you, even if you have to stay up all night talking to somebody that helps you get in touch with your intuition and your trust. Because I'm hearing you've got support, you've got angels, you've got people that can help you, you know? Sometimes you just need to get a personal reading too. So, you know, get a personal reading from somebody. It doesn't have to be me. There's a lot of people here that do them. But, you know, check your sun, your moon, and your rising, especially if there's something that's keeping you up at night. I'm hearing a lot of the reasons why some of y'all are up at night right now is because you have actually broken through some of the barriers of your energy that are only spoken of as like the 7 chakras, like the temporal chakras on the body, and that these 9 swords are actually indicative of your soul and earth star chakras opening up, and that you're up all fucking night because it's like you're just wired, and like magical freaking energy is coming through you because of the beacon that you are as this. Because this card 2, intuition, is also the High Priestess. Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. But if you were in this book, in this deck, that's your High Priestess. So that woman, that man, that other can be up all night dealing with like spirit work and stuff too, especially when they're magical. So let's see what the book says here on that, because this is a major arcana, and this is just like a really good indication. And I'm hearing that, you know, if you've got a major decision to make and you're like up all night fretting, you know, over these next couple of weeks, you just need to trust your gut. And they're saying you need to go and do something that reminds you of the magic that you are, because there was a time when you were really in touch with that shit, whatever it was, and it's like really just like going back to that state where it was like possible and getting in touch with that, because that's where you're going to find your trust, and that this is all going to be good. So let's see what the book says. Intuition. Intuition is the language of the soul. When this card shows up in a reading, it's a clear message that it's time for you to use your intuition. Just give it a chance and you'll quickly notice how it might be trying to get your attention. With so much information in this world vying for your every thought, it's easy to ignore or fail to acknowledge your insights. Synchronicities and so-called coincidences are powerful signs that intuition is knocking on your door. Have you heard a phrase or a saying repeated by more than one person today? Do the same numbers keep showing up in your life? Has someone mentioned the name of a specific individual whom you were just thinking of? These are all signals for you to pause, be open, and pay attention. This is a perfect time to seek answers from within. Turn inward, where you'll find the solutions and valuable insights that are waiting to assist you. When you learn to use and trust your intuition, you'll begin to have a sense of not only the right timing, but you'll also begin to perceive people and situations with a deeper and more discerning eye. You'll not only observe beneath and beyond what's actually in front of you, you'll see the real deal. Traditional tarot archetype, the High Priestess. So, it's within your grasp is what I'm hearing. Virgo, they're saying you know what to do, and if you don't know what to do, you've got people that you can actually trust, because it's like you've put it together a certain way where even if you're up all night stressed about it, it's like just because you've tended to it so well, you know, that even the dark spaces have light around them. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like even if this isn't, this is showing up trust here. This is personal romantic sector card, and it's not always about romance. It says here the situation is calling for you to have faith. In some cases, this is definitely about your romantic partner. Other cases, it's just really about you trusting your own magic, you know? And those things inside of you that guide you and let you know what's behind those doors even before you approach them. And so I'm just hearing, you know, maybe you were stressed out last month, you know. Things come into focus, especially around our birthdays. And, you know, it's been your solar return. And, you know, I'm hearing for a lot of y'all, you're just like, wow, you know, I really lost touch with that. That's what I want. And, you know, you've been like, what am I going to do about it? And I feel like some of y'all have been a little paranoid about it, and maybe for good reason, you know? It's your life. And because it is, and because you take things so seriously, even when you're up stressing about it, I'm being told you still did a good damn job, Virgo. So, trust yourself, okay? Let's see what the book says on this one here. Because it says the situation is calling for you to have faith. Alright, Virgo. Here's what it says. In response to your question, the romance angels ask you to trust that everything is exactly as it needs to be. Do not add fear to the situation, which will only create drama and negativity. Instead, the angels ask you to release your worries to them. Your present situation is here to bring you blessings and personal growth, leading to the beautiful romantic love that you so deeply desire and deserve. As you follow the pathway you're currently on, trust it's leading you in the right direction. Your faith uplifts your energy, which in turn attracts positive experiences and people, including your romantic partner. This truly is a situation where with faith, all things are possible. Lean on God and the angels for support. I'm going to leave you on that tip, Virgo. I think it's salient advice. You know, and if you're needing help from somebody, and I'm hearing for some people, you know, it's just like, you know, I'm hearing it's about a surgery for somebody. And that they've been really stressed out about it. And I was catching it for some of the other earth signs too. So, you know, it might just be an earth tribe thing. Maybe a lot of people are dealing with, you know, either themselves or family members, you know, looking at surgery situations. I keep seeing somebody like going under the knife, and I'm just hearing, you know, make sure that you feel comfortable with what is being proposed, okay? Because, you know, that's what this intuition is about too. It's making sure that you feel good about it, because sometimes, you know, things are not what we've been told to, and things can kind of be reversed, and it's always good to get a second opinion. I'm thinking, you know, I keep getting the two here, you know, make sure, you know, these are two completely different schools of thought here. You know, these are two very different paths, and so I keep hearing, you know, if you're looking at one kind of medicine, you know, look at the other one. Look at maybe like Eastern and Western, you know. You're allopathic and you're more like homeopathic. You just get yourself a real second opinion if you need to, especially if, you know, you're considering something major and you're trying to figure out who to trust in this. And, you know, I'm praying for you, and I believe in freaking miracles. Okay, you're looking at a miracle. I believe in your miracle if you're looking for one. I'm praying for you, and we already did this prayer, and so just know that that's out there, and that you know, you can trust that that light is there for you, and that either way you're going to win. Okay, so just pick a path. You know, don't stress yourself out more than you need to, Virgo. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm being told you've got good reasons to keep freaking dreaming. You're magical, even if you forgot it. So I'm praying for you. God bless you. God protect you. If I can do something for you, hit me up. Or love.me, alright? And if I don't hear from you, hey, thumbs up if it made sense. Share it. Subscribe. You know, and if I don't hear from you, I'll just see you again in a couple weeks when I've got free mid-monthly. So we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.